Okay, my bad. Hello, Liza. I wasn't sure if you'd be at class this week. I noticed you didn't make it last week. How have you been lately? I haven't heard from you in a while.
Well, in all honesty, I haven't been doing very well.
What's going on? Is there any way I might be able to help you feel better?
My grandmother passed away this past week. I feel so upset by this that I don't think I have the motivation to do my schoolwork.
I'm so sorry to hear this. I'd always heard she was a great woman. I'm sorry for your loss. It can be really difficult to do anything after a death in the family, but I can almost guarantee that procrastination will just make you feel worse in the long run. My aunt passed away from cancer this past year, and I faced similar issues due to this. Schoolwork was the last thing I wanted to do. I know I could have really used help during that time. I'm concerned for you. Is there any way I can help you get back on your feet?
I know that not keeping my head above water with school during these times won't do me any good, but I don't know what I need to do to fix it. I'm so sad and I barely have the motivation to get out of bed in the morning.
Hey, it's okay. I'm more than happy to help you in any way that I can. Do you need a study buddy to help you through your work? We can talk about anything that might help you alleviate your load as well. I know it's hard. That's why you shouldn't have to go through this alone.
I'm reluctant to accept help. I feel like I have to process my pain and get through my schoolwork by myself. It's such a heavy load, though.
If that's what you think is best, that's okay. But it's never wrong to ask for help when you need it. We're only human after all, and we all need help from time to time.
You're right. If you're willing, could we meet at the Learning Center after class and go over this week's homework?
Absolutely. I'm always willing to help a friend, especially one who needs it. Is there any other way I can be of assistance or anything you need to talk about?
Well, this is my first time having to process the death of a relative. It's very difficult.
I know it's hard, but you can get through this. I believe in you. Death is never easy to move forward from. It's most difficult at first, but it does get easier as long as you're trying. I have faith in you, and it's paramount that you have faith in yourself. I want to see you thriving rather than just surviving. I'm proud of you for being here today.
Thank you. The kind words and support are very much appreciated. I don't know if I could have gotten through this alone without my schoolwork suffering dearly. I've been so scared. I can't afford to fall short of my hopes for this semester.
Of course, we are all flawed human beings, and we all inevitably fall short of our hopes for ourselves from time to time. That's okay. What's important is that we can get back up and try again. No matter how tough it is or how long it takes, it's never too late to get back up again. Sometimes we need crutches at first. That's okay. Even when you fall, what's important is that you are trying.
I try so hard. It can be so disheartening how minuscule or slow the results can be. I hold myself to such high standards that I don't give myself the time to process the things I need to, like my grandmother's passing. In fact, I haven't given myself the time to do much of anything. I've just been so sad.
Not allowing yourself the metaphorical breathing room you need after tragedy is struck will only make things feel worse. Please, for your sake, make sure you take the time to process the things you need to. You can do this, and I'm more than happy to help in any way I can. I'd much rather you be happy. It pains me to see your pain. I wish I could take it away for you, and I wish it was that easy. Is there any other way I can help you?
Well, do you have any tips for balancing productive time in your day? It's been difficult while in this unmotivated, depressive mental state.
I've always found that approaching each day at a time and setting reasonable goals for yourself in a day is very helpful. I keep a daily schedule on my phone to be very effective for myself when I'm feeling down and overwhelmed with my mental health and productivity. It's also important not to set yourself to unrealistic standards. You are hurting. Do you think that these things might be helpful for you?
I think it's at least worth a try. I can't keep shutting down. It makes me feel like I'm drowning mentally and academically.
Just remember, we're all only human, we're all flawed, but with personal work and the help of others, anything is possible.
Thank you.
Just a sec. Do you have any plans this coming week for Thanksgiving?
Yes, I'm going home and to stay with my mom, and we're going to my uncle's house for a small gathering for Thanksgiving on Thursday.
Oh, that should be fun. Are you sad that Black Friday isn't a thing this year?
I usually don't go out and Black Friday shop like crazy.
Okay.
But sometimes I'll go shopping like with my mom or something, to find things for family members. But I know this year they're doing a lot of like online things, which
Right.
should be
Aren't they
fun.
doing a lot of the sales like all month long as well?
Yeah. So it should be like easier. It's a lot more accessible when you can just do it like online, like on your computer or something. So
Also a
that
lot
should be
safer
nice.
during pandemic.
Right. For
Uh,
sure.
Speaking of the pandemic, were you taking classes when COVID-19 started?
Yes. So came to the realization I didn't actually realize the severity of everything until March, which I think is when like everyone kind of realized
Right.
it. But I was like on spring break in Florida and I was very, very scared. I was like, we need to not be here. And I went home back to my hometown to stay with my parents and took the rest of my classes online there.
Right. Yeah, it definitely has been a pretty scary year overall. um, where did you say that you sheltered at the beginning, or did you?
Yeah, I went and stayed at my parents' house in Forsyth County. That's where I'm from. So and we all pretty much stayed like quarantined the whole time. I have a pool in my backyard, so I was just tanning
No.
and doing schoolwork most of the time, which wasn't too bad.
How was the family dynamic? Was it easy to be isolated together, or
It was pretty
difficult?
difficult because usually we all have things to do. So like my mom always like she works at an office and she had to work from home. So she like wasn't really used to like being at home all the time like that. And then obviously me and my sister had both been at school. So it was weird to be back in the same house with her for so long after not being there. And then my dad works from home anyway, so I don't think he had too difficult with the adjustment, but it was still kind of intense for us to all be together like at once like that for so long.
Right. Did you take classes this past summer?
I didn't. No.
So how did you spend your free time during the summer during a pandemic?
Um
Just the
yeah,
same way?
not too much of anything. Like I said, I was like at the pool a lot. Um I was hanging out
Right.
with my little sister, watching TikToks, and that was pretty much it.
Was it a tough adaptation overall, like beyond the family dynamic, uh, moving into a world where we're in pandemic?
Yeah, it definitely was. And it was also like, I think this whole year has kind of been like a lot. Like I went to a Black Lives Matter march during the summer, and me and my dad have very different political views. So when everything was going on with that, it was difficult to like be in the same like house and like have to like kind of
Yeah.
deal with that dynamic. um so I kind of just tried to keep to myself and like get through it until I could come back to Athens.
All right. I definitely understand that issue. um, do you remember the first time you wore a mask to go to the grocery store when the pandemic started?
Yeah, I it was mainly because my dad works in like medical product development, so he had like an abundance of those like blue disposable masks anyway. Like we always just had them in our garage for whatever reason. Um, so, and he was very, very frightened by everything at the very beginning, which, like I was saying, he has like different views than me. So he's kind of gone back and forth with the whole like, it's not real, it's a hoax by the Democrats. And then, like, but at the very beginning, he was like, you cannot leave this house or do anything at all. So he was like, we were wearing masks in like Walmart and stuff before it was like required or anything. And I was like, being
Right.
like, oh, there's like not a lot of people wearing these. Like they probably think I'm like diseased or something, but yeah.
Well, when classes started this semester and you came back to UGA, did you feel like your teachers overall were pretty accommodating for anything that you needed to continue an academic career during a pandemic?
I think so. I'm only taking 12 hours this semester, so I don't have like that big of a workload, which has been nice. And almost all of my classes were online. So 3 of my classes were completely online. 2 of them were like live Zooms, and then the other one was like an asynchronous class. And then the
Right.
other one, we had the option of going online or in person. So, and I've been online completely because of that, which I think has been really helpful. The only thing is just like finding the motivation to do stuff when you're not in person, because it's just like
Right.
just being online is kind of like draining, and it's been difficult for me to stay motivated most of the time.
Right. I feel like the social isolation really takes a toll academically.
For sure.
So do you feel like you're online, or do you prefer the online format for your classes overall, or how do you feel about it?
I would say I go back and forth, because sometimes I'm like, oh, this is so nice. I can sleep in until 10 minutes before my class and then just like listen to what the professor has to say. And then I can like do whatever I need to, and I'm like right at home. But then, like I said before, it's kind of difficult for me to stay motivated. And it was especially hard adjusting to it in the spring semester, like last semester, because I was so used to like being in class every day. And I was kind of
Right.
using that, I think, as a reminder of like, oh, you have work to do. So I ended up like missing a couple assignments last semester just because I like forgot that I had to even do stuff. And I've like made an effort to like get better about that and like have everything that I need to do for the week like lined up beforehand. But I definitely just like staying motivated right now to like actually get it done has been the hard part, because I just want to like lay
Right.
in bed and do nothing.
I agree. Did you have any plans that you had previously made this summer that had to be canceled because of Corona?
Just like a beach trip. Me and my family take a beach trip every year that we weren't able to do. Um, and that's, I'd say, pretty much the only thing.
Right. Did you have a job when Corona broke out?
So I didn't, but I had been meaning to get one for a long time, because like all of freshman year, basically all of last year, I was like, I need to get a job. And then when we first got back, and my parents were really scared about it, I was like, oh, I don't want to like go out and do something like that. And then when everything kind of started like opening back up again, my parents were like, okay, you need to like get a job, because I like literally was using their money for everything. But it was really hard to find a job, obviously. Like there weren't a
Right.
lot of places hiring. And I ended up getting a job at like a little ice cream place in my hometown for just a few weeks before I came back. And now I'm working at a dorm at UGA.
Nice. Has anyone you know been like personally affected by COVID?
Yeah, so I've had a couple friends that got like sick, like really sick, really bad, um, and tested positive and everything. And one of them, um, it was her birthday, like on a Saturday. And I went over there and like brought her a present, like gave her a hug and like hung out for a few minutes, and then I left. And then that next Monday, she texted me and was like, I just went to the doctor and tested positive for COVID. So
Oh,
I had to
goodness.
go get tested 2 times, and I ended up testing positive also, but I was completely asymptomatic. So I'm not really sure. And like everyone else that I was around, like my boyfriend and all my roommates, all tested negative like over and over again.
Right.
So I'm not really sure, but I was in contact with someone who was sick and tested positive. So I'm not really, it was very weird.
It definitely is really a very confusing disease.
For sure.
How do you feel moving forward during this pandemic, moving into like the next semester and the new year?
I guess right now I'm just kind of hoping like we as like a culture and as a community in the US can like get a handle on this. And I feel
Right.
like the primary way to do that is to like isolate. If you look at other countries that have like come out on the other side of it, it's isolation mainly is like the way to do
Right.
that. So I'm just hoping that like the whole, the individualism and everything that we have, we can try to suck it up for a month and
Right.
get something. And if there's a vaccine too, I know that's like been something, but hopefully we can figure out a way to get this done so we don't have another year of this, because that's not what I want to
Right.
happen.
Yeah, the last thing I want is another 2020 part two.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, I think we're finished now.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Thank you.